Ranching's a terrible business, grandson.
Terrible? How?
There's federal regulations, state regulations. These people in the city suing us. Half the herd looking for a hole in the fence so he can go wander into the forest and get eaten by a wolf or a grizzly.
Well, if ranching's so hard, how come we do it?
Because it's one hell of a life.
Jeff,
Ian.
I apologize for being late.
Oh no, we're done. I'm leaving.
Let me tell you, I got an email canceling all of the press today.
Oh, really?
But I had misread it. It was only one outlet.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we were talking about it, and it was a big misunderstanding. And so I said, okay, fine. So only the phone interviews are going to be today. And he said, absolutely. And I was like, great. So then I was, waiting for the phone to ring, and I'm looking. I'm like, I gotta re-look at this again. And of course, this one, you're here waiting. So that was my fault.
Well, no worries, man. That's okay. Everything's cool, man.
We only missed 5 minutes. So here I am. I love your background.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much, man. I'm so excited to talk to you today. And well, let's get started here. Your association with Kevin Costner, it goes back to Wyatt Earp in 1994, doesn't it?
Yeah, that was the first really, big job. We say that, big job, they're all big, that I got when I was a kid. And I remember I was in the kitchen with my mom, and we had, phones with cords on it back then. And the call came in, and she picked up the phone, and it was my agent. And I could tell that I booked this job. And I had no idea about the scope or what it would be like. I'm not even sure I knew that Kevin was in it at the time. And then, we go to Santa Fe, New Mexico. I meet him, and he's there. He's a producer on the movie. So he's always there, even though obviously we're not in the same scenes. And he talked to me and was nice and guided me, and was just, he was a dude. He was the age that I am now is the age that he was when we did that. So it would be, I think about it in the sense of like, if I was talking to a new young actor right now, what would I tell them? And that was the dynamic. And then now here we are playing Cowboys and Indians again.
And your association with Taylor Sheridan, Wind River, right? I mean, what a great experience it must have been.
Yeah, I read that script, and I was like, this man has got something here, and it's so perfect within the zeitgeist of when it was made, and even still to now, with the scope being so succinct and so personally piercing, without blowing a bunch of stuff up or having aliens or weirdness. It's just life that you can sit with, and you go through it, and it takes your soul out, and then it goes dark. So working on that was phenomenal. And then that sort of parlayed into, do you want to come and ride horses? Yes, I do.
Well, I was going to ask, you do some sort of cowboy boot camp, or did you know how to ride, or did you have to learn how to wrangle cattle? It looks pretty intense.
I was fortunate. My grandfather had a livestock ranch in Wisconsin, so I would spend my summers there, months at a time, from probably when I was 8 or 9. And I really learned, from an old sort of cussy grandfather that wasn't into coddling. You picked it up quickly, or you got your butt kicked. And so I've been riding since then. I'm very comfortable on a horse. I learned how to team rope with my uncle years ago in Montana, oddly. And that was something that we were asked to do here. So it was just very convenient to not have to teach me some of those things, that I could be relied on to do them. So when Taylor writes, he knows who can do what, and then you get a little bit more leeway. So I was fortunate for that.
Every Bunkhouse boy is getting some sort of storyline, especially in season 3. When's Ryan's turn coming?
Ryan he has his own part to play within, like, the pot stirring and the prodding and the finagling of other people's relationships and what they're doing. So he's kind of like the DH, if you will. He can just come and bat every now and then for everybody. What do we used to call it? The all-time quarterback. Remember when you didn't have enough guys to play like 5-on-5 football? You'd have an all-time quarterback. So he's going to do that and poke around within the realm of everybody else until if and when Taylor comes up with something special for him, or he'll just catch a bullet in a gunfight, and then we'll just say sayonara.
Well, you can't fake what's on screen. And the Bunkhouse boys, are they close in real life? Because it just really comes through in the show.
Yeah, we spend most of our time together. When we first started shooting in Park City, Utah, we would come up to Montana. The two locations are pretty remote, pretty isolated. There's not a ton to do. So what you do is you wake up and you call your buddies and you're like, what are you doing? Do you want to go have coffee? Do you want to go to the gym? Do you want to play tennis? Do you want to go just walk around? Do you want to eat? And so it's a pretty full-time, relationship. And then now that we've got the girls, we've got a whole new dynamic energy to bring in. And we're just a pack. And we're on group texts, group calls, just goofing off. So it's very genuine and it's easy and it's a lot of fun.
And fans are going crazy over Teeter, who joined the Bunkhouse this season. And can you understand her in real life too? Because I have to rerun that back and forth to understand what in the world's coming out of that woman's mouth.
It's so funny, when you read the script. So it's written very phonetically, and when you look at it, you're like, I can't. What is this? These words, and it's like when your friends will say, say these 5 words back to back, and they're completely random, and you say them, and then you don't get it. And if you say it fast enough, you end up saying something like "I am an idiot" or whatever. That little sort of palindrome. And so when you're reading the script, you're like, I don't get it. And you keep saying it and you keep saying them. And then eventually you're like, oh, I get what it means. But then when you watch her say it, you have no idea. Like you'll watch her lips and then you'll be like, what are you saying? And then she'll say it because she's the most, she's from LA and she has the most sort of classically perfect diction and accent. And she'll snap out of it and go, what I said was... Da, 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 da. And it's a completely different person. So it just speaks to her skill in doing that.
And fans are clamoring for a Bunkhouse story. Do you have a favorite Bunkhouse story from season 3?
Gosh, we spend so much time there. It's like being in a submarine, in like World War II. You can't really leave. It's very cramped. You see the same people. And you're always just moving around one another.
But you have to have cliques, right? Are there little cliques with the actors?
Yeah, there's some gossip. I can't get into. I'll tell you one story. This was funny.
Okay.
We're always playing with cards because Jeff is like a pseudo magician and he can do things with cards that you're like, dude, oh my God, what happened? And then there was a dartboard one day, and you'll see this eventually because we actually got it on film. And Jeff is always throwing up cards and catching them. And I said, Jeff, go stand next to the dartboard, right? Like imagine it was this. And I was like, stand here and take a card and throw it up. And I'm going to stand back here and I'm going to throw a dart and I'm going to stick it to the dartboard. And he's like, bro, not a chance. And I'm like, no, do it. So we did it 1 flip, 2 flips, a third one, flip, and it stuck to it. And then it took us about 200 more times to do it again. And the first one was the Queen of Spades. And then after we did it, I grabbed the Queen of Hearts and I stuck that one. And I actually have both of the cards with the dart holes in them. And we're going to have the cast sign and we're going to auction them off for charity. So that's something people hopefully can look forward to later.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that's something that we just did in the Bunkhouse, which is so what we would do in the show. And I wouldn't be surprised if we end up using, because that's a terribly dangerous thing to do, is throw darts.
And finally today, season 4 begins soon. You heading up to Montana, going to be quarantined? I
am in Montana.
You are?
I am quarantined. I'm looking out of a beautiful valley in the Bitterroot near the Skalkaho Pass. It's idyllic. It's picturesque. There's pine trees everywhere and wildlife and chickens walking around. So we're already doing it. And we come out of quarantine soon, and then we'll be riding horses pretty much straight away, and fishing and hiking and being what we call our bubble, like everyone else, and getting back to work hopefully soon.
Well, Ian, season 3 is off the hook so far, and I can't wait for season 4. Appreciate you taking the time out. And when you have a chance, come visit us in Las Vegas when you're all done. We'd love to have you.
You know what? As I drive home, I usually stop there, so maybe I'll come by and say hello. I appreciate the kind words. Thank you for the support, and we'll see you soon.